Hey friends, this is Tonya, MessyBible on Instagram, Facebook, a few things here on YouTube, and MessyBible.net. Today I'm going to create a prayer Rolodex card for our friend Lindsey. I'm using the Works tool by We Are Memory Keepers to cut this down, and my measurements that I'm going to do for this one are 3¼ inches by 4 inches. And I keep pointing at the top there like you can see what the numbers are, and I didn't realize that was off screen, so far sorry about that, you guys. But I've got it down to the size that I need it, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Heidi Swap punch that punches it out for the Rolodex, Memory Dex cards. But the Rolodex that I use on my desk at work is a little bit wider on the holes. So I just punch it once, slide it here, and punch it again. Then I'm going to use the We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper at 1/4 inch, and I'm going to punch the bottom 2 corners to have a rounded edge. Now, again, We Are Memory Keepers. This is their tab punch. I love their products, you guys. And so I'm going to go in, and I've got that one little pattern. I really want to make a tab right there with that pattern. So I'm going to line it up. They have some guides there. I'm just trying to line it up so that I get that pattern as a tab. Punch that. And then I'm going to just cut off the excess with the tool that they have there to do it all in one, boom. And now my card, I mean, that right there, once I get this last corner chopped, that could totally be by itself. It's just so cute, that paper is. But I've got this piece of watercolor paper that I just did some play on, just playing with watercolors and leaves. And I think this is a great way to create your own ephemera, just to cut some things out that you have created in your art play time. And if you don't have art play time, I don't do it very often, but when I do, y'all, I love it. I love art play because there's no rules, there's no thinking of being perfection. It's just playing. And sometimes you come up with the most fun things during your art play. I pulled something that reminded me of Lindsey in the colors. In fact, I tried to pull a lot of things that reminded me of our friend, colors that she likes, things that I've seen her use and do before, just to help me remember. Now, I've got 2 pictures here. The black and white didn't really work with the colors on the pattern paper, so I did the sepia. I print 4 pictures to a page. There we go. So that really gives me the right size, and I can print them horizontally or vertically and do this technique that we're going to do today. And make a little pocket that's going to go on the back, and our picture is going to slide up and down. You want to use a lightweight paper for this because you just don't need the bulk really that you would get from a cardstock. So I'm using like a piece of origami paper, and I'm folding it over and folding over like I'm going to wrap this picture. And then I trim it, making sure that I have an overhang. I need there to be enough paper overhanging that can put adhesive on it, to tape it down here in a minute. But I also need to make sure that my picture can slide in and out easily. And so that's what I'm doing, just adjusting and making sure that the picture can slide in and out real well. And then I want to make sure I leave a 1/4 inch on the bottom end. I've trimmed off the top. And now I can take and cut these corners off here on the flap, the bottom flap. Once I've done that, I open it up, trim right here on these flaps, that piece out. And when I do that, you'll see when it comes together here in a sec, we're going to put some adhesive just right down here along that side. And that's our flap, and it's just going to go over and tape there to that side. Now you want to make sure, like I reach in there and I feel around, making sure that I don't have any adhesive sticking. Put a little adhesive on that bottom flap, fold it up, and there, boom, handy dandy little envelope, little pocket, if you will, for the picture. And I need something that I can use to pull up the picture out of the pocket with. So I'm looking through my scraps, and I realized that there's this one pink tag on the cardstock that I used that just seems to be perfect for this. So I'm going to go ahead and just fussy cut that out, punch a hole in it, and I'll do something with that later. And I'm going to adhere it to the back of the picture. Now, y'all, I am notorious. If you've watched me on Instagram Lives, I am the queen of putting something on, taking it off. going backwards in my creative process a whole lot as I go. And that's what I'm doing here. So I realize I need to trim the picture down just a little bit. I want to make sure that it's not too tall for our card. So I've got that. Now I've got to trim down the pocket to make sure that the picture isn't get lost. You guys, you know how it is when we craft. We're like, oh, okay, now I need to do this. If we're not following a set pattern and we're just creating as we go, that's kind of a little picture into my creative process. I'm not sure what yours looks like, but oftentimes this is what mine looks like. Honestly, y'all, it's just about every time. Because I just kind of go by the seat of my pants all the time. I think I might need to punch some holes, but in the end, y'all, I don't need to punch holes in it. I'm not going to adhere it on there right now because, spoiler alert, I'm going to stitch with my sewing machine on this card. So I'm going to use some sticker letters to spell out the name of God, Jehovah Rapha. And that is a name that we find in Exodus 15:26, and it's where God says, I am the God who heals. And so thinking of our friend Lindsey, making a prayer card for her, and I'm going to put that word on there. I found some paper that wasn't too busy in my stash, in my gratitude documented stash. I'm sticking those on there. I am not using a T-square ruler like our friend does. She just rocks that thing and making straight lines. But y'all, I know that even with a T-square, I would mess up. So I just go ahead and make it wonky to start with, and that way, if it gets wonky more along the way, it matches. It all looks right. So here I'm using a different sticker. These are some that both sets I think I got from Studio Calico a few years back. So I'm not even sure that they're still available. I'm going to find some paper that I can put the word Rapha on. And I end up pulling out a piece. There's my little gratitude documented stash. I'm trying to figure out what's going to work best for this. And I find a piece. I'm like, yes, this will work. I'm going to go ahead and put the stickers on there. And this will be another element that I add to the card. Lindsey, as well as I remember, likes the colors pink and mint. She likes gold tones. So I'm using all of those elements in this card as it's reminding me of her. The verse that I am using for this card is Psalm 30, verse 2. And it says, "Oh Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you have healed me." And so that is my prayer for her. I have a class, and it's currently on Illustrated Faith's website under their workshops, and it's called Power Filled Prayers. If you haven't checked it out, Lindsey has some videos on it as well. But that's a technique of prayer that I will be using. And so as I pray for Lindsey, I will be praying, "Oh Lord my God, Lindsey's cried out to you for help, and you will heal her." I'm just kind of changing I'm adding her name in here. I'm changing a pronoun, and I'm changing the verb tense, because what we know is the Lord does heal. He healed yesterday, He healed today, and He'll heal tomorrow. And so I'm just claiming that over our friend, that He will heal her. As I've been chatting, I've done a few things. The tissue paper was like legit tissue paper, wrapping tissue paper that I put in my vintage typewriter and typed out the verse. And I'm using old school glue stick here. The reason is my friend Tracy Pounds over at the Little Blue House, she says that this will not gum up my sewing machine, the needle and all the things, using a glue stick. So I just lightly put a piece on there and a little, dab of the glue on there, just enough to hold it till I can get over to the sewing machine. And I am a washi fanatic, so I've got to put a little washi on here. It's not very noticeable in the end of the card. When you see it, you're not going to notice it. I know it's there. I know I got to use some washi. And if you guys saw my washi stash, you'd say, "Girl, you need to use a lot more washi. You need to be giving away washi," which I do, because I have so much. But I just love it, you guys. And my husband supports the habit, so we're not complaining there. So I'm just tacking in some, a couple pieces of washi. Got everything tacked together. Gonna roll over to my sewing machine. Now, this is a sewing machine we've had in the house for many years. I'm just doing a straight stitch. Y'all, the tension, I don't even know. It's like 2 or 3. I get this question. I don't have a clue. I'm just putting this thing in and stitching. And I like to stitch across the letters. I like to stitch across the papers. I added some little gold string in there, just a wad of it stitched across that. Sometimes I'll do a zigzag. And y'all, look at those strings. I mean, this thing needs a haircut like I don't even know what. I do not cut up right up against the paper. I will hold it out and cut the string out from the edge. And that way it won't come unraveled as well, but also it has the strings kind of being messy. And I have a very unique style that I like when I'm making my cards, and is clean and messy. I mean, can we just say how weird is that? But that's okay. I think there's a messy beautiful to it. The clean lines contrasting the little messiness here and there, and it's just absolutely fun. So now it's time to add my picture and trying to figure out where it's going to go, and I'm going to use score tape. Okay, here's the reason, y'all. On the back of that card, it is a hot mess of stitching, and I need this really, really strong adhesive to adhere to everything really well on the back. If I just tried to use my regular tape runner, it would not work well. It would come off, and y'all know that glue stick would come off. So I'm positioning it back there like exactly where I want it, and then I'll make sure it's lined up, press it down real good, and we're good to go. I have enjoyed making these cards. I do this for Gratitude Documented, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen that I've been putting these on my Rolodex at work, and I will take this one with me Monday to work, and I'll have a prayer card for Lindsey, but then also for anyone else that I need to pray for healing. I'll have that verse right there handy to pray for her. So I'm adding a little bit of ribbon touches to the top of that tag with some gold accents because it reminds me of our friend. And then that will be the finish touches of my card. Now, y'all, again, you know, clean lines and messy. So once I get this all trimmed up, I'm going to fray those edges a little bit because I think that adds just a little bit more fun to it to have a little bit of frayed edges. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support our friend while she has guest artists in. I know this is not what you are used to seeing, but man, we're so grateful that you still come in here, you still watch, you still support our friend who we desperately love and just are praying for her healing and through this process. And y'all, I hope to see you over at my Instagram account. That's where I'm most active, MessyBible, link below. Hang out there and let's get to know one another there if we don't already know one another. Last little touch is adding the date stamp on there. Not necessary, but just a fun little touch to add to it. Again, thanks you guys for watching. Have an awesome day.